a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. It's been a slow week. We're going to talk Rotherham United. We're going to do our very best to talk Rotherham United. We're hoping and praying. You never know. You never know. Something might break while we're talking. You just don't know. I mean, almost certainly won't. But you never know. Let's be positive. Mick's back with us. How are you doing, Mick?
All good, mate. Thank you. Are you?
Very, very good. Thank you. Your Hammerby shirt, you're wearing Hammerby as always, because it's your summer team. They had an excellent victory today. If you want to fill some minutes with that.
Absolutely. Excellent victory. Some very, very well taken goals as well, particularly the last one, which was just inside their own half, just outside their own, just inside opposition's half. Absolute gem of a finish to 3-1 victory. So good game, good result. Played really, really well. And
they did.
Easy 3 points. If Tobias is listening, he'll know.
You will, very much so. Danny is with us. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. Thank you, gents. How will we go?
Very, very good. We're going to start with you, Danny, if we can. Yesterday or Saturday, if anyone you're listening, was the Kimmie Park Cup charity match. Just let everybody know how it went and how many pennies you've raised for the wonderful cause.
Yeah, so it went it went really well. My team, the red team, were 1-0 up at half time, and then we ended up winning the game 7-4, which was fun. And I scored the second goal, which is even better. And yeah, so we won the cup. We had beer and champagne. I had to limit myself because I was at work at the Woodman shortly afterwards, but that was fun on the calves and the quads after 70 minutes of football. But more importantly, so far we've raised 2,500 for the Rotherham Hospice.
Amazing. That's really, really good. Well done to everyone who contributed. Me and Mick bought some cake and some raffle tickets.
Yes.
We contributed.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, that cake's fantastic though, isn't it?
It was so nice. It were really, really good.
Yeah, that was Reese's auntie that sorted out all the cakes and bits, and they were incredible. Absolutely incredible.
They were perfect. Yeah, they were absolutely bang on. So well done, Danny. Well done, everybody who was involved in that cost. So it's a good bit of money raised for, as we mentioned, a great cause. Yeah. Let's see what we've got with us in the comments. Power Mad is with us. Gav Grundy, Dave Lawton, Martin Holland, YouTube user Kim Hayward, John Morrell says it's been a wonderful week, which has if you're a Birmingham fan. Reese Kellick, Poundwood UK, says well done for everybody. Palmad says Tony Stewart mentioned he can see 2 coming in. What do we make of that? Let's start with the transfer nonsense because there's been none, to be honest with you. The only rumor that we've had this week is I had a few people message a few fans of other football clubs saying that Billy Sharp was looking very good. It was looking really positive that Billy Sharp had probably chosen us over anybody else. But it didn't go anywhere else. I again, because we do this podcast, other fans, other clubs reach out to us who know. So, but there was nothing on social media about that this week. It went very quiet, even for that rumor, which is supposedly really, really good for us. But nothing really came out this week, which is odd.
I'm with John on this. It has been a wonderful week in that sense, hasn't it? No nonsense. No nonsense at all coming out. Some fantastic fan engagement, if you like, by the club in terms of the trip to Spain. Some great stuff coming out from Sam and his team. But no rumours. As you said, the Billy Sharp thing seems to have kind of died a little bit of a death. Officially, well, not officially, in terms of the rumour mongers, but it would appear that things may be going on in the background. Who knows? I just looking at the comment that Cheryl's put there. Are we really excited about the prospect of him? I think excited is a strong word, don't you? If it were 10 years ago, yeah, you'd be excited, wouldn't you? But having said that, we say he's 30. What is he? 36. Is it Richard Wood age?
He's getting on, yeah.
Yeah, and we're still excited about Richard Wood. So
True.
I don't know. Listen, if we get him, that's great because he'll bag a few goals. But if we don't, I'm not going to shed a tear. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Billy Sharp. Then I mean, we're so might as well. John asks, "Is Billy Sharp the question?" Well, it is the answer. Sorry, it depends what your question is. If your question is you want somebody to start a game, then Billy Sharp's not the answer. But if you need somebody, if you want a squad player who you can rely on for a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes every single week and cause problems, then yeah, who better than Billy Sharp with his experience and know-how and everything else than to say, right, come and teach the young lads, come and do your coach course, which I think is potentially part of it as well. That could be a great answer to that question.
Yeah, and we have to remember as well that that Sheffield United brought in Connor Washington as a backup to Billy Sharp. So that maybe rules out Derby with that. Bear in mind they've now signed Connor Washington. But yeah, I think with Sharp, he's definitely not a starter, probably not a full 90er at all at the minute. But if you look at how Sheffield United used him in their promotion push, it was more of the club legends in the dressing room and sort of came on and had the impact when he needed to, not necessarily in getting the goals, but just rallying the lads, seeing a game out, chipping in here and there as well. And maybe he comes in and does that for us. Maybe he comes in just to steady a game later on in a contest with the team higher up the league where he knows the experience side of it. But I've still got this thought in my head of bringing Kelly and Sharp on towards the end of the game. Like, I know Sharp's not signed yet, of course, but that's quite a scary prospect. The bulldozer of Georgie Kelly and then the experienced 6-yard box lurker in Billy Sharp. That would be a great duo to bring on later in a game. And we know Matt Taylor likes his attacking changes later on in a game. But yeah, I can understand people's what's the words? Trepidation around Billy Sharp, because he's the same age as Richard Wood nearly. And you would think a player of that caliber maybe drop down a league to get a bit more game time. But I think with Sharp, he is looking to carry on his career at the highest level he can. Maybe not quite Premier League, but I'll certainly put money on him doing a job in the Championship still. And a couple of people have come in and said that the Twitter brigade are already out saying we want more goals in League One. He might be able to chip in. He said that about the Championship as well. But I think he's the highest goal scorer of this millennium, or something like that, like 250 odd goals. If he has the chance to do it in the Championship, I think he will keep it in the Championship. And if we're the outlet for that, I know Coventry was sniffing around a little bit, but that's gone a bit quiet. There was which team was it in league? I think it was the Championship. I think it was Hull. Hull apparently were rumoured to him as well, and their manager
Coventry
came out.
Him as well.
Yeah, Coventry have not really heard much, but Hull have said no, we're not after him. We don't know where that rumour's come from. But yeah, like you say, Matt, he might want to do his start his coaching badges with us and have a dabble at that. I mean, it'd be quite fitting because I think Sharp was in the Rotherham Academy a little bit early doors before moving to Sheffield United, so that would be a nice full circle. He's done started at Rotherham's Academy in some capacity, went to Sheffield United, made a name for himself, went out to a few Yorkshire clubs, and Scunthorpe. Was it Scunthorpe?
He basically probably started scoring goals with Scunny.
Yeah, and then he did Leeds, Doncaster, back to Sheffield United. So it may be a rather poetic, complete full circle, make a name for yourself at your boyhood club, but finish your career more or less where you started in the academy and such. But, nothing's ever concrete in football. I mean, we've seen some transfers that looked concrete early doors and they've gone to Peterborough, so we'll have to wait and see with Billy Sharp. I mean, on my list, we were first linked to him on May the 10th, and it's 2 months later, and it's still not materialised, but it's still just being chipped away a little bit in the background. I've heard all sorts of stuff to do with Billy Sharp, one of which is that he's at Roundwood with the injured trainers doing a bit of rehabilitation. He's linking up with the squad before the Middlesbrough game, blah, blah. I've heard all sorts. But this rumour isn't going away, and it's the one rumour that hasn't gone away yet. It could be a Chio to Swansea type of rumour where it didn't go away for ages and then it just didn't happen. But I don't know. This one, I don't know. I really don't know with this one. It'll do a job, like we've said, but it's like Billy Sharp to Rotherham, like location, yeah, but really? You know, it's a very hit and miss, this one, but we'll have to wait and see. I'd take him, though.
Yeah, I'd take him as a squad player, definitely. I think it's split opinion. Well, if you got something like that on not very high wages, why not?
I think it depends. It depends on what he wants as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, he's a very experienced man, and he's going to have the choice to. He's going to have a number of choices, and if he's not going to fit into the plans, to our plans, the way he wants to fit in, then he quite rightly would go somewhere else. You know, if he's wanting to prolong his career like Richard Wood is, and getting, you know, plenty of first team starts, then it may well not be. Well, it certainly wouldn't be down in New York, would it? I don't think.
No.
So we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody mentioned Sully Kaikai, Kim Hayward, gone home early from the training camp, something to do with personal issues. Matt Taylor sort of seemed open to the idea of him potentially coming back and having another go, basically. So he must have done a little bit to impress in the short time I was there. So I'll have to wait and see if anything happens with that one. Let's talk about the trip away, Mick. It sounds like it's gone all right. I mean, people have got upset because we lost to Elche 1-0.
No, they haven't. Don't be ridiculous.
I couldn't care less what the result was in that game. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially at that point, when we're still playing two different 11s in each half, you can take nothing from the result, can you?
Nobody. You're not. No. Seriously.
Open Twitter. Well, don't open Twitter because
I've been on it and I haven't seen anything personally. I've just seen people complaining that people have. I mean, what?
I don't know.
What? Is it the same accounts that we're getting faced on because we only beat Park 2-0?
Probably.
Oh, dearie me. I'm too old for this, aren't I? I mean, what? That's all I've got no else to say on that. That's ridiculous. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Thanks for filling time on that one. Cheers. Obviously, none of us saw the game, Danny. I've seen the goal, which looks like a keeping error, but it's difficult to tell because the camera angle is so far away, and I don't know what definition is still in HD. Matt Taylor seemed a bit downbeat on it, to be honest. But again, that's in a way that's a positive thing. Matt Taylor's not settling. He's not sort of saying, "Oh, 1-0, it didn't matter because it's a friendly." He's sort of talking about the performance side of things, and it's not right. And he said he wants to see it improve, certainly from Wednesday when Middlesbrough come to New York. So there's sort of a line, almost a line being drawn in the sand from Matt Taylor saying that we need to be better in terms of performances.
Yeah, but for me, that's what you want to hear in a manager. You know, get a little bit of we need to be better than that out the way early doors. You know, so he can sort of see where his improvements need to be made, whether it's tactically, whether it's positional play, whether it's an individual player or whatever. He's still looking at that early doors and going, yeah, we need to be better than that, and then can work on it. I mean, I'm not too fussed. We've lost 1-0 to Elche because it's pre-season. You know, I think if we were losing every single game 6-0 in pre-season, especially to Parkgate, we'd be in trouble. You know, but 1-0 to Elche, you know, just come down from the Liga. So they might just about be our level potentially, you know, because I know the Spanish second division isn't like the Championship; it's more like bottom end Championship, top end League One. Yeah. And if Elche have come down from top division, it might just be our level. But I don't really follow Spanish football because it's Spanish football. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm not too fussed. I mean, I've seen the video back, and we all love Victor, but it looks like a keeper error to me, lads. It looks like the defence has been caught out a bit and Victor's made that decision to go for the ball and he's jumped at it, but the players just put it round him and scored, which is a bit of a shame, you know. But again, it's pre-season. Get those thoughts and practices out the way early doors and then go again.
Clever work from Victor. It's clever work from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scouts
In
watching.
fact, yes, you've got a very good point. Yeah, this video is going out on social media. I will make myself look like a League One footballer. So nobody comes and buys me. My game, Victor. Yeah. It's like the meme, isn't it? You know, clever thinking, Victor. Like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, they're back on home soil today. Is it 16th? Yeah.
Saturday was last day, weren't it there? So it must be today they're back.
Yeah. So they probably had their minds on the plane and what they were having on the way home. But yeah, I'm not too fussed about LJ. But have you noticed that every single team seems to be going out to the training place where we went to? And it's all after us. Like, I know everyone wants to be Rotherham United, like, but Derby's gone, Chef Wednesday are going. It's like,
yeah, but
what trend have we set here?
Well, we haven't, have we? We just, I mean, basically what you've got is Rotherham A team going, Rotherham B team, Rotherham C team going. That's all it is. It's just, they just bought it in a job lot. Hoping that Chancery might pay up.
Yeah. I think Matt Taylor seems positive about it, and that's sort of the main thing at the minute. Certainly these teams, these trips away, for us as fans, are pointless. Nice to see the fans that were able to make it on Friday, I think it was. I'm going to assume those were people that were already in Spain, to be honest with you. I don't know. But yeah, it's good to see those sort of taken in and given good treatment by the staff and the players and whatnot. I'm sure they've got hundreds of pictures each from each player. So very good that they were allowed to talk about the next season. I think hopefully they'll be able to get a match or something like that so the more fans can go next season. But we'll wait and see. I don't know. Something else for us to moan about, innit?
Yeah.
Let's talk about ticket prices briefly.
Here we go.
This was a roller coaster of a weekend, to be honest with you, from certain clubs. First of all, we should point out we haven't announced our match day seat prices yet, so we will be careful what we say, just in case Tony Stewart hikes 15 quid on top of what it was last season. Don't think he will, but you never know. So it came out on I think Friday, Mick. Leeds United. We'll start with Leeds because that's where we are. They announced their ticket prices, which are horrific, to be honest with you. They're not as bad as Sheffield Wednesday, but they are horrific. So the assumption was that they would charge between £47 to £49 for away fans. It has now come to light that their supporters association, or whatever they've called, have said that Leeds will do something similar to what Cardiff did last season, where they will match whatever the other opposition clubs' away ticket prices. So let's say, I think they play Cardiff the opening day, Cardiff charge 24 quid, so Leeds will charge away fans 24 quid. First of all, that's a really good step, because it makes cheaper ticket prices. And if everybody did that, then we could get to a point where we could say, right, there's a cap on ticket prices for away fans, which is where we probably should be.
Yeah. But the big but here is that Leeds United have not said that, have they?
No, the supporters association.
Supporters group, who have absolutely, I would suggest, probably have absolutely zero impact or influence on ticket prices. So it remains to be seen what the club do. The prices they're charging their home supporters are just remarkable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are obviously two clubs here that are implicated in this. Leeds tend to fill their ground pretty much every week in, week out, or they did in the Premier League. Obviously, now that they've come down, a lot of the glory hunters will disappear until they get promoted again. So whether they're able to fill the ground every week in the Championship is another matter entirely. I would suggest, given the history of Leeds and the size of the city and everything else, and the lack of competition locally, really locally, they probably will. So, it's in their hands, and they can charge what they want if they know that they're going to fill the ground. But on the flip side of that, to charge away supporters that amount of money for an away game is it's embarrassing. I can't think of a better word. It really is embarrassing. But it remains to be seen, doesn't it, whether they actually follow it through or not.
What I would say is, if it was true, then the club should be shouting this from the hilltops, from the treetops, Because that, if they are going to match, that's a great step forward. So why are the club not saying we are going to do this, and it's really, really good? It's a great PR moment for them. Why not take that chance?
Well, they probably will. If they're going to do it, they probably will. Why would you do it now? Just because a few people have moaned about it on Twitter is not really a reason to set your sort of PR wheels in motion, is it? They'll do it at the most appropriate time, come the beginning of the season or just before the beginning of the season or whatever. The issue they're going to have from a Leeds United point of view is that the 47 quid that they were going to charge away supporters, they are charging 47 quid in the same stand for the home supporters. So that if they decide to charge, I don't know, for sake of argument, Rotherham say we're charging Leeds fans 25 quid when they come to us, so Leeds charge us 25 quid. You could literally be sat 10 yards away from somebody who's paid 47 quid and got the same view, but they're the home supporters. So it's going to create issues in that sense as well. So I don't know. It's a bit of a minefield, isn't it? But 47 quid for anybody to watch a game of football it's monstrously expensive. We're not watching Premier League prima donnas here who we've got to pay £150,000 a week for him to roll on floor for 80 minutes out of 90. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'll be honest with you now. I, for one, will not pay that money. I will not go either.
You're starting a boycott, aren't you? If it's that price.
Say again.
You're leading the boycott of that if it's that price, aren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to do any damage to the club, to the team, disappear, turning up at Elland Road or Swillsborough with absolutely no support there. But I think if they did, it'd send out a fantastic message. And I think, football clubs up and down the country, supporters of football clubs up and down the country should perhaps get together and say, right, if you're going to charge us over X amount of money, none of us are coming. It'd be a pain. Yeah, it'd be difficult to miss local derbies or whatever it is. But if they're not getting the revenue, you're hitting them where it hurts, aren't you? So we'll have to see how it pans out. But I don't think that would happen.
Yeah. Daniel Scott asks, what's the most you've paid for an away game?
Ooh,
now, that is a good question.
41 quid at Bell End Road.
Were it 41 quid? When was that?
Last time we played him in Championship.
Oh, was that for... Okay. I don't think I went to that
41 quid.
Yeah. I'm sure we paid 37, I think, at Hillsborough. 35 or 37 quid I paid. We paid at Hillsborough.
We paid over 40 at Hillsborough as well.
Did we?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, but we were 40, wasn't it?
I think the time it was over 40 quid at Hillsborough was the time that I think we took about 300.
That when Woody was given that penalty against him, weren't he?
Yeah.
In the last few seconds.
Yeah.
I think that were 40 something. I think we have paid around just under 40. I think at Hillsborough. Danny, you have been on the kids on the younger tickets. So, what's the most you've paid?
I'm trying to think for adult tickets. Was the one last season that were about 35 quid?
QPR.
QPR was 37, I think.
That's it. That's the most expensive I've paid. Then 37 for QPR, which was silly, really, because I went for the FA Cup match and all.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pay. One of the reasons I didn't pay the 37 quid. Palmer UK says I think I paid 40 quid for Wembley. I mean, if you're going to Wembley, I don't want to pay 60 quid for a ticket, but if I'm going to go to Wembley, I'll pay 60 quid or 80 quid because it's a final, because it's obviously going to be a final. I don't want to pay that, but I will. It's a difference paying to go to Hillsborough, Elland Road, or whatever Huddersfield's ground's called. It's a big difference if that was the case for me. Anyway, I don't know. Other people might disagree with that. I can't remember what we were at Wembley for Papa John's, to be honest now. I think we're cheaper at playoffs, but anyway.
I don't think it was 40 quid. It were about 35, between 30 and 35. I don't think it was too much.
Yeah. It was the Papa John's was certainly cheaper than the playoff final, understandably, to be honest.
Which I understand. We won both of them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just saying.
Juice said he also won't be paying that Pound. That's our Mick rant. Kim Hayward, also with you, not paying it. Abs says, also, I won't be going to Leeds. The stand is poor. The view I had last time of their stand. The only reason I will doing Sheffield Wednesday is to take my lad for his first visit. John Morrell says his Carling Cup ticket was £60 worth every penny. £60, that was what, 15 years ago?
They're a big club.
They were. So, yeah. And this is not even... people have mentioned the 10-year season ticket at Sheffield, and John Morrell says the 10-year season ticket is bonkers. Screams ownership needs a quick injection of cash. They'll be utterly screwed in years to come. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm loath to touch that, to be honest with you, because I don't really understand the situation, because it's something along the lines of you pay a 10-year season ticket, and if you get to the Premier League, you get a free ticket for, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. But you've got to pay upfront $6,000 or whatever it is. It's.
I mean, there's a pretty big if in the terms and conditions with that, isn't there? But if you notice that suddenly Sheffield Wednesday are back in the Championship, and suddenly the 10-year season tickets are back.
Exactly, not the first time I've done it, is it?
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to assume anything, but the bits of string are there to tie together. But it's strange with Sheffield Wednesday. Like, does anybody else do a 10-year season ticket?
I've never heard of that anywhere else.
I don't even think the Premier League do a 10-year season ticket, and you've got, in fact, no, the Premier League do, but it's a 10-year waiting list for a season ticket. Yeah. I can't remember which clubs it is, but I like Liverpool or something like that. But a 10-year season ticket just to get into Hillsborough is like, really? Really? Like surely it's better to do it season to season, because then it's more how to describe it? It's basically easier to do it season to season, because as one season ends, you know where you'll be for the next season, so then you can do your season ticket onto that. If you need more people through the gates in League One, for example, then you might keep the season ticket the same, drop it a little bit, etc. But if you're going up to division, I know a lot of teams do up it a little bit, or like with us, we've upped it a little bit, but we kept it the same for
10 years.
10 years or so.
Ironically.
Yeah, so it's a bit, a 10-year season ticket where you pay up front, like say $6,000 or so, with the asterisk of getting to the Premier League. It's like, that's still a pretty big if, lads. Like, you were close once upon a time, but you've just come up from League One. That's a pretty big if.
You're missing the point here, Danny, and so is Chansiri, because it's not actually a 10-year season ticket, is it? Because he doesn't understand their fan base. It's a 5-year season ticket. They call it a 10-year, but they only turn up for 5 years, because they only turn up for half the season while they're winning, and then they're off. So, it's technically only a 5-year season ticket. He needs to offer it for 20, then they might get 10 years worth of football out of it.
Yeah.
You can clip that.
You'll be saying they're obsessed.
Yeah. Obsessed.
This in a nutshell, John. So it's something like a 10-year season ticket that doesn't kick in until they get to the Premier League. Plus, you got to pay $6,000 to watch them go back down to League One. Yeah, it's again. We said this.
What does it mean? It don't kick in until they get into Premier League. So you pay. So I go tomorrow down to Swillsborough. I pay me £6,000 for my 10-year season ticket, and unless they're in Premier League, I can't use it.
Oh no,
I'm just asking. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. You're just laughing at all the clubs having issues, aren't you?
I'm sorry, but I know Abs. This is Abs at 1884. This is probably an autocorrect mistake, but can I say Cham Siri is the funniest thing I've seen today instead of Chan Sherry. That's fun. I'm going to start using that. Cham Siri. I like that.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move back to the villains. Let's move back to, obviously, no transfer business done yet. Danny, we are 3 weeks just now. We're today, just under 3 weeks before the start of the season. How are you feeling with the current squad? We all know we're not done. We all know the boys to come in. But how are you feeling in terms of where we are at the moment?
My main concern, if you like, is wide players. Probably, we seem to be very much lacking in wide players. Maybe a few more squad bodies up top and in midfield a little bit. But But I think the main focus now maybe should be wide players because, you can't really bring your plan together unless you've got at least the blocks to build around. But with our wide outlets, we've sort of got Ferguson, who's still in a little bit of rehabilitation, and Bramall on the left. And then you've sort of got Kyoso on the right, and he's more little bit more defensive orientated, and that's it on the right side. So we're very light on those sides. So I'd like to see a couple more, maybe one on the right side, just so we can start working. Taylor can work out a plan. Like obviously, he's the football manager, and he's got the badges to prove it, and I don't. But for me, as a fan, a bit more weight on the wings, and then a bit up top and in midfield, and we should be okay for me. But for me, in Taylor, we trust. I'm not worried because it's Taylor. I had someone come into the pub today and recognise me on from the podcast, which was quite surreal, being behind the bar, and it's like, your face looks familiar. You on the Rotherham podcast? Oh no, I've been spotted. And he was saying that he really liked Matt Taylor, and it's just a good manager to have. And a Sheffield United fan who came in echoed that, and he agreed that he's quite like Paul Heckingbottom. He's very much a football man. He knows what he wants to do. And got wished all the best by a Sheffield United fan, and he said we'd be fine. So fair enough, But yeah, wider players for me should be where the magnifying glass is.
Yeah, it's one of those, Mick, where we are. If the season started tomorrow, we could get by. We've got the players there for a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, plenty of midfielders, and 2 up top if you wanted to. Maybe an extra man in midfield if you wanted to. So in theory, we've got a squad. It's there, but Danny's right. As things stand, it would mean we would be so inflexible that that's what you've got. We're crying out for at least 3 wide players, at least 3.
Yeah, we are. There's more additions that are going to be required, and obviously the loan market's not really kicked in yet because we're not close enough to the season. So there's no doubt that we're going to be exploiting that as best we possibly can, given our financial situation. You're right. We've got the basis of a decent squad, but there isn't enough quality in it yet to kick on from where we were last season, particularly given the sort of increase in quality in the division as a whole. So we've got some improving to do, and I'm absolutely convinced that Matt Taylor and Rob Scott, come the beginning of the season, come that Stoke game, we'll have a really decent squad in there. It may not be complete, but I'm sure that we'll have sufficient to start the season, sufficient quality to start the season, as opposed to sufficient bodies to start the season, which are 2 different things, aren't they? So let's just wait and see. I think all our business, or the majority of our business, is going to be done towards the back end of the transfer window. I think when John Brecken came on, he alluded to this as well. We're kind of down the bottom of the pecking order in terms of Championship clubs. If players have got offers from clubs above us, they're more likely to take them rather than with us. So it might be that we end up with much slimmer pickings than a lot of other clubs. But it's not mine. We will, Yeah. So this is where where we've got to sort of play our cards pretty close to our chest, which I think is what's been happening. The Cafu signing, whilst it had been rumoured in January, we just came completely out of the blue for everybody, which was great. And hopefully, come the middle of this week, we might have another one that just comes completely out of the blue. Fingers crossed, now that they're back from Spain and the manager can get back on with his recruitment work as well. Hopefully, we might see some movement this week, but I'm sure we'll see plenty before the season starts.
I mean, that's the thing, that going to Spain is great for the team and everything else, but it's obviously going to slow down. The chance of you signing somebody permanently whilst not in the country, Danny, is it's almost zero. You could fly somebody over, but if the deal's almost in place, there's almost a point of, right, well, let's wait until Matt Taylor comes back and the teams come back, get it signed on the dotted line, and when the pre-season properly starts in terms of the domestic action on Wednesday against Middlesbrough, you'd expect to see some bodies in through there. But during that time, Rob Scott would be working his fingers to the bone, and Matt Taylor would have been dipping his toe into the recruitment business as well.
You were about to say something else then, weren't you, Matt? You were about to say, I saw the B forming on your lips then before you said. But anyway, yeah, I think Matt Taylor's been more dipping his toe into the sea, to be fair, whilst he's been out in Spain. That looked like a mint holiday, by the way, a proper footballer's working holiday, wasn't it? Running your sen ragged and then going in the sea and playing golf. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, like you say, I mean, Taylor did say before flying out that it was very slim that players would go out and join them. I'm actually surprised that he took the trialist out with him. Yeah. But like we say, he went home early due to personal reasons, which, you know, fair enough. Might come back to it. We'll see what happens. But I agree. As soon as we're back on British shores, maybe into the run up to Middlesbrough. I mean, I know we're cutting it fine with Monday, Tuesday, and then probably Wednesday morning to at least announce something. Like, we don't know if anything's been done and we've not just announced it yet, you know. But yeah, it sort of hit the ground now, and I imagine more bodies will come in. It's slightly later in the window, so we may expect some Premier League loans coming in, which sort of suits what Matt Taylor's building. You know, pad it out with experience and then bring in the Premier League youth loans and stuff. But yeah, now we're back in England. Excuse me. I do expect some arrivals to start coming in a little bit quicker, because it was basically play Parkgate as like the friendliest of friendlies before going out on the training camp, and then come back, and that's when everything really starts turning over and getting going. But it's still quite a busy pre-season. You know, we've got Borough, Mansfield, Sheffield United, and Lincoln. All just to get everyone match fit, if you like, plus new arrivals coming in for them to bed in and stuff. And the slightly breaking news that Dan Barlasser is being put up for a loan with Middlesbrough. Now, Mick, I'm not saying you had your crystal ball out, but
I mean, Danny, I have to say that I'm probably unable to find a big enough pinch of salt to take that news. Given the fact that it came from the EFL hub, which is notoriously reliable at talking complete nonsense. I mean, it's just they've obviously had no Rotherham United clicks, have they, for a week or so? So they decided to come up with some nonsense like that. I cannot see for 1 second that Michael Carrick would let Dan Barlasser go out on loan, least of all to another Championship club. That is not going to happen. I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. Listen, I'll be the first person to stick down up and go, yes, come on, if it did. But EFL hub, mate, nonsense, absolute garbage.
I know. It's a shame. Yes. Shelton has in the comments, has Barlas been told he can go out on loan? Probably not. Probably not. If he is, then he's probably still come to us. John Morel says, could you even afford his wages? He would have taken a significant wage increase when they went to Middlesbrough, I would have thought. And unless Middlesbrough are suddenly in financial issues, I can't see that, which I can't see being the case. I can't see the Barlasser rumour being anything other than EFL hub getting what they wanted and getting fans talking about them, which is a shame. But it is what it is. We have to sort of mop that up. But
it's just clickbait, isn't it?
It is, sadly, yeah. If only it wasn't just clickbait, then we'd all be very happy people.
But just on the off chance that it's not clickbait, I shall keep my Twitter handle the same. Just, you never know. and then if it does happen, I can just claim responsibility for it. It's nobody will know that I didn't believe rumour.
It's not like it's recorded or anything.
No, exactly.
Poundman says, Mick, you can have mixed wages. You can chip into Barlasser wage if he comes back, Mick?
Listen, if he wanted to play for Rotherham United for my wages, we'd be down at Parkgate level.
Pick up a couple of injuries. Russ Vernon mentions, as Paul Davis has reported and advertised today, Jamie Lindsay and Lee Peltier have picked up some knocks whilst away. Joel Holvey has also picked up it's a more serious of the three. How serious is we obviously don't know. As expected,
get injured.
How dare they?
What's wrong with training regime here? How come we always get injuries? How come we only seem to be the only club in the world literally the only club in the world that gets injuries? It's ridiculous, man. Honestly.
all I would say to that is I hope they're nothing. We saw Tom Eaves last year. He was picked with a calf injury, and it was only out for 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't a massive injury, but because of when the injury happened, it completely ruined his pre-season. Which meant he didn't play any games. Which meant he didn't play under. I don't think he played at all under Paul. And if he did, it would have been briefly. I would say that Jamie Lindsay and Lee Peltier seem like the type of players, Danny, who can just hit the ground running. And if Peltier is match fit, as soon as he's match fit, bung him on, he'll be fine. And same with Jamie Lindsay. Maybe it's like different players, maybe.
Yeah, they seem to be players that both have that bounce back ability. You know, they sort of get injured, overcome it quite quickly, and then crack on with it. Whereas a player like, as much as we love him, Georgie Kelly, for example, he did something with his calf, and it seemed just to be a niggle for quite a while. I don't know if you've seen it, but he did a Talking Sport Fitness podcast whilst he was in Ireland. And he went for the scans after his second calf injury with us, I think it was. The one that was just towards the start of last season. And it turns out like the way his calves are formed, it makes him more prone to calf injuries, like biologically or something. So with how Roundwood used to be, that's a big issue. Can you imagine if we tore up Roundwood's pictures purely to keep George Kelly fit? That'd be ace, that, wouldn't it? Anyway,
sounds right to me.
Yeah, but anyway, from what a few people have told me, it doesn't sound like it's serious injuries for any of the three of them. It's more just impact injuries. And I imagine the game against Elche was more competitive than against Parkgate, so there will be a few more impact injuries. But mind you, I've got an impact injury from the game yesterday. You know, my quad has been absolutely screaming at me for the last couple of days. But
is that how you scored, Danny? You went in off your backside and it's bruised your ass.
No, funnily enough, it was quite a heavy challenge, and I landed very badly on my quad. But as a footballer, even at my level, which is probably like one stroke below amateur at best, if you have bounce back ability, you're well on your way. And like I said, Peltz and Lindsay have got that, and the professionals at it. So I'm not worried at all for the pair of them. They might miss the Borough game, but they'll be fine. I don't think it's anything to worry about, really.
No, agreed. We've mentioned this briefly. Kiss Tether says, what makes it worse is the window open until the end of August after he played several games. Actually, mate, that helps us. Bearing in mind the sort of shops that we're shopping in, and the fact that you wouldn't expect, maybe your only outgoing is going to be Victor. If there is a big outgoing, Victor's the only one. We haven't got 4 prize assets who are set to leave or we want to keep. We've got maybe no outgoings, and we need the time to pick up everybody else who is left over everybody else. So that probably works out really well for us that it ends when it does.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always been the case, hasn't it? I don't think he said.
Well, they tried doing it for 2 seasons, right, and then they realised that they needed time. They needed more time to bring people in because you can sign all these players in July, but if you get to the first game of the season, it turns out they're not what you expected in a competitive game. You need time to get others in. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't have any issue with it, and it's going to benefit us certainly for the reasons we've outlined earlier on. You know, we're fishing at the bottom of the pond, if you like, in terms of where Rotherham United are as a destination for professional football, aren't we? So. We need more time than other clubs, so I don't think it's an issue at all from our point of view. In fact, it probably benefits us.
I think it might do. Yeah. It's been such a slow news week. I haven't got anything else to talk about. Is there anything else that is Rotherham United related, or even tenuously Rotherham United related, that you feel needs a talk, a mention, a comment? We will take many. We won't take any suggestion. But
a few things bubbling in the pipeline, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah. Well.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think we can give you an indication that we're looking at some stage, hopefully, once the season started, possibly in the international break, to have John Breckin back on, joined by his Siamese twin Ronnie Moore. But yeah, we're hoping to have John and Ronnie Moore back on, possibly live, possibly not. Ronnie wants to do it live. We're not convinced that it's going to be appropriate, but we'll see. So that's something to look forward to, because as we all know, the season gets going, we all get into football, and then it stops again virtually straight away for some meaningless friendlies. So hopefully that will be coming at some stage.
Yeah, hopefully the international breakers will hopefully get something done, because, like you say, quiet times. Although Victor might make his debut in September, you don't know.
That's true.
He won't, because their coaches clearly don't know what they're talking about. But look, let's not get into that, shall we?
We're basing that off what we've seen on Twitter, by the way. The amount of angry Swedish people whenever the squads get announced for a Sweden game and Victor's not there, it's slightly beautiful, but also at the same time, what is their coach doing?
Correct.
It'd be like Gareth Southgate picking Jordan Pickford every time England play. And not Nick Pope, who's quite clearly better. But that's a different can of worms that we're not going to get into.
Kim Haywood has a big question. This is a big one. She says, "What's the truth on Christ? Does anybody know?"
Still on his bike on his way here.
That is a gallant question, Kim.
That's a brilliant comment. What's the truth on Christ?
This is obviously the guy that was at Wigan. Don't know. Again, this is one of those rumours that was Tahihi. Do we think his surname is? I'm not sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
If
we sign him, we'll be referring to him as Christ all the time. So that's all you need to know. The rumours that he is there is an interest. That's it. There's again, we talked about this, and we could talk about it again. But I really like the fact that we don't know. I like the fact that everything's been kept close to the chest. John Mell's right. It's a bit deep for a Sunday.
Well, you see, it's the perfect day, isn't it? It's the perfect day to be asking questions like that. Traditionally.
True. Yeah. I suppose it is. Let's move on. We don't know is the answer.
Surely it should be a January signing, because we can talk about him around Christmas.
Yeah, with the Christmas present. But it could be the gift that keeps on giving if we do sign him. So hopefully that kicks off. Neil Lewis, we've got 2 home friendlies coming up. Neil Lewis is a Sheffield United friendly, not having all the ground open. Most home friendlies don't. It's only, I think, Newcastle, we sold a lot of the tickets, and Middlesbrough, when we were in League One, we sold a lot of tickets from. But that was post-COVID, I think. So that was probably the reason why. And I think is this our first home friendly since then? Because we didn't have any home friendlies last year, did we?
Don't think we did we?
So this is the first home friendly in 2 seasons. Again, irrelevant. Danny, are you going to the Middlesbrough game?
Yes, but there are a couple of things to sort out with it at the moment.
Okay.
And I still need to look at my rota for work for the Sheffield United game, but we'll see what happens.
I've booked some things. I won't be going to Middlesbrough game. I hope for the Sheffield United game. We probably won't do an instant reaction for those. I wouldn't have thought, but we may for the Sheffield United one if we might. We'll see. But yeah, keep an eye out for that coming up as well. I'm still looking at potentially getting a Forest fan to talk to us a bit about Cafu, because I still don't know too much about him. So I think it might be good to get a bit of an insight from a Forest fan over the next week or so, just to give us a bit of a lowdown of what to expect from him, because he's an interesting player. There's people having lots of fun in the comments, by the way.
What have we started it? Oh dear.
Look at the Christ.
I'll leave you to that, shall we?
I'll leave you guys to it on there.
I've got so many jokes in my head as well, but I don't want to upset anybody because we're all friends here.
Yeah. Anything else, you two? Anything else? Anybody else? Danny, make anything else?
No.
I think the one last thing for me is a special shout out to Kimbo Sports to finish. who very, very kindly did all the printing for the red and white teams with Rotherham Hospice on our chests and the numbers on the backs, and also provided the red team with all of our kits that are currently drying on the washing line. So yeah, thank you very much to Wayne at Kimbo Sports for that and for providing the bag, which now has the match ball in it, which I've kept. So yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much to Wayne for all that.
And we'll mention them now, Kimbo. If you are looking, obviously the season's coming. If you're a single league team or adult or junior, or you're a 5-a-side team, 6-a-side team, do get in touch with Kimbo Sports, which is the kimbosports.co.uk. And as Dennis mentioned, they can sort you out with a lot of. So I really like that the red kit they sorted out for you. To be honest with you, I thought it was really, really good. So they are, and I've seen the park. We obviously seen the Park Gate kit, which I really, really liked as well. So if you need a football kit, get in touch with Kimbo Sports. I think you can still buy some hats on there from us. I think they're still on the website. Buy some hats. Yeah. Let us go from there. Thank you, everybody. We have managed to get 51 minutes out of nothing. So I think we should all be proud of ourselves in the comments and everything else. So well done to everybody. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't done already, please subscribe on there as well. Well over 1,100 subscribers now. We are tracking very much in the right direction of where we want to be. So thank you very much. We will be back next Sunday, which will have hopefully some signings. Worst case scenario, we'll have 2 friendlies to sort of talk about and cover, which were the Middlesbrough and Mansfield games. And we'll pick up any other news that may come up between now and then. Mick, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you with us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Danny, it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight, and well done on the fundraising for charity. Well done.
Yeah, always a pleasure, lads. And hopefully it's even bigger next year.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. And up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant! Mule with it, Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again! The magic man has come up with another trick! Well, here's a chance to seal it, it's done! It's